Hey GlamFam, Linwood here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do some feed in braids just like these babies right here. Now, in case you don't know what feed in braids are, it's basically a method of cornrowing with extensions where you are adding in this hair. Let me see if I can get you a little closer. Where you're adding in this hair, and in doing so, you're starting off with a natural hair here. You're going to gradually add the hair in so that way you're able to get a back you up. You're able to get a bit of length here, of course, because you can see how long this hair is compared to the length on this mannequin. You're able to get quite a bit more length while still looking like it's natural in there. So as you guys can see, I've already got quite a bit of hair laid out here and my bundle of hair there. This is Cornrow braiding hair, which I prefer to work with. But just so you know, I prefer to work with Cornrow. Toyokalon I don't really care for as much, and I do have some that are blends now that are okay. I'm just not a huge fan. Okay, so you want to start off really with stretched hair. So you're going to take your large bundle here, and you can either stretch it by pulling a bit on the ends before you start, just so you don't have that real blunt edge on it. Once you have done that stretching, then from there you can go ahead and start pinching off small sections of hair about like that. I mean, they're rather small. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and lay them out because you will be needing those. So right now I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got about 13. I may or may not use all of those, so I'll kind of talk you guys through it. Let's go ahead and tilt you guys down here so you can see what's going on. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. You guys can kind of see this braid, and let me know if you can tell where I've added in the hair, because the key thing with feed in braids is making it look a bit more natural. I will tell you, a lot of people ask me like why more people don't get this done, and honestly it's just because it's kind of tedious and it's quite a bit more expensive. So you want to make sure that you've got this hair that you're not braiding pretty well secure, especially if you're working on straight hair because it's more prone to flyaways. This can be done on straight, kinky, curly, or coily hair. Braids do not discriminate. All right, we're gonna start off, I like to always start off with a small focal point, so I'm gonna start off smaller here and gradually go larger as we go. Just continuing right around the bend here, and then I'm gonna narrow out in the nape. So if you guys have watched my cornrowing video, you know you should always part wider in the crown, more narrow in the nape area, just because that head shape naturally narrows like that, and if you don't account for it, you'll end up with braids that end like way up here, and that's a no-go. So we'll go ahead and clip this excess hair off just to keep it secure and out of the way. And you want to basically work in as neat of sections as possible, so we're just going to go ahead and do just that. Now I prefer to, especially with straighter hair, take a bit of like a duckbill clip and just pin this extra hair right on out of the way. So now that I've got it nice and secure, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my braid. So just making sure that hair is well detangled. You guys can see the size of my section there. Okay, I'm gonna start off with a very small section of hair because of course the more small the pieces that you start with, the more professional your braids are going to look when you finish. So I'm going to go ahead and start off here by separating in 3 sections, and I'm just going to cornrow as usual. Now I'll tell you guys, this is a more advanced cornrowing technique, so I'm not going to break down how to cornrow on this video. If you would like to know how to cornrow, I do have a video on that, and I'll link it in the top right corner. All you have to do is click the eye up there. Alright, so once you've braided a little ways, you want to wait for that hair to get kind of its own thickness to it, and then I'm going to start off with one of my pieces here. So I'm just going to take this extension here, and I'm going to place it right at that middle mark directly across my outside strand. So I've got my bottom strand and my top strand. I'm not adding anything to the middle. And from there, I'm just going to go ahead, add it into those strands. Before I go ahead and continue braiding, I'm just going to give this hair a slight twist. So take it, give it a slight twist, and then just keep on braiding just like so. Now from there, I'm just gonna continue, and once I go a couple more steps down, I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little bit more hair just to balance out my braid. So here, I've got this strand, which was my middle strand. It doesn't have anything added to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that same step by grabbing a little bit more hair from my layout that I have back here. I'm gonna place it directly across those two outside strands again. Give a slight twist and go ahead and continue braiding. Now you wanna check and make sure that you're not, where you're adding it in is not showing. That's what kind of gives the illusion of that hair just naturally getting thicker. Now of course I've got here, you can begin to kind of feel which strands need more hair added. So my strand here is a little thicker than these two. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and braid to where my two thin strands are on the outside. And then I'm gonna grab another strand and add into both of those thinner ones, just like so. So from there, I'll just go ahead and continue. And honestly, you can add in this hair as often as you like, as long as you can keep a good grip on the hair. And it just depends on how thick you want those braids to turn out. Now to me, the thing that I like about doing the feeder braids, especially if you're doing something like Ghana cornrows, things like that, you're usually adding in enough hair to where they start out very thin and then they thicken up to the point where you're not really seeing any scalp. To me, Ghana cornrows are absolutely beautiful. If you haven't seen them, be sure to check them out. They are completely gorgeous. So we're just gonna go ahead, keep on adding this hair in and continue braiding. And I'm adding in quite a good amount because I want you guys to see just how thick this can get without you having any type of knots showing or having any sort of detection as to where you are adding that hair in. So we're just continuing this process all the way down. And you can see now I'm basically adding in every step. So the thing that I like about doing this technique is that this hair begins to gradually taper down, and it just gives you a very natural feel to the ends of the hair. And I'll show you when I'm completely finished what I'm talking about there. But you can see I just lay it over the top and then just add it in, continue braiding. And honestly, when you first start, it's gonna take you forever. Like I said earlier, it could be very tedious, but once you get used to it, it really is a great technique in order to be able to add in that hair and make it still look natural. So for your clients that are looking for those seamless extensions that just give you really thick, luxurious, long looking hair, this is an excellent way to go about it. Of course, as you're adding in hair, you're still making sure to pick up hair from the underneath, just like you would for a standard cornrow. And that way you're still staying flat down to the scalp. Okay, and I've got one more piece over here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add that last piece in. And can you see how those two braids are touching? Usually if you're doing like Ghana cornrows, something like that, usually it's going to start off really narrow and then they start touching as early as like right in here. So if you can imagine them touching like that all the way through, it really does give a very nice looking cornrow. Of course, this is the same technique that you use for that, but this is just a standard feed in braid. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and move down to the ends of this hair. I'm just gonna continue braiding as usual. And because you've added in so much hair and you've got really a smaller amount of hair in there, even with straighter hair, you don't really have to worry as much with the ends trying to pop out. So like right there, I've got a little bit that wants to do it. Just slow down some. And as you continue braiding, it just blends right on in. So you can see with this one, I went ahead and did the same process all the way down to the tips of the hair, where I just continued braiding, so it's rather thin there. And it goes down to, if this were an actual person, this would be about waist length in terms of the braids. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish out this braid and then I'll cut to the end and show you guys what it's looking like. Okay, you guys, so I finished with this braid here, just that way I can kind of show you guys what we're talking about here. And let me move on down. So you can see from the beginning, we start off with a very narrow portion here where it's natural hair only. And then from there you begin to gradually add in as the braid gets thicker. And you're just gradually adding that hair in. Now this length is gonna go all the way down. Let me back you up some. All the way down. This is quite a ways. I feel like I'm all the way on the floor. This is like I'm posing by my shoes now. But that way you guys can kind of see just how long this hair is down here compared to the length of this mannequin's hair. And just so you guys can see, you don't really see any noticeable lines as to where that hair ends and where the extension hair begins. So that's how you do feeder braids. Let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. And of course, as always, take care and stay glam. God bless. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.